James Morrow. James, good morning. Great to see you. So obviously, 6-week campaign. The Prime Minister's hoping to wear down Albanese, confirmed now May 21. What's your sense of where things sit? Obviously, we know the published polls, but sentiment different to making the call in the ballot box, isn't it?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, the published polls cover mostly, except for the seat-by-seat stuff, they cover the national sort of mood, but really where it is going to come down to is a seat-by-seat race. You guys have been speaking very expertly about how that's going to play out over the next 6 weeks. But I think that the other thing that's really going to happen here, and that the government is really counting on, is that Anthony Albanese just simply won't be a seasoned campaigner. I mean, say what you will about Scott Morrison. He is an absolute animal on the campaign trail. He goes out there, he grinds it out. He has a plan. He can deal with the hecklers. He can deal with the opposition. He can deal with the punishing pace of it. That's what he did in 2019. Remember, until the very last possible moment, he was out there campaigning. Now, Anthony Albanese has really had, I think, let's be honest about it, a fairly easy run of it the last year. All he's had to do is just sort of show up and not be ScoMo, but that's fine during the kind of the general sort of order of business. But when you start to get down to an election campaign, you're going to start to hear some real serious questions, and you're going to hear questions being posed that they don't necessarily are able to answer with a glib, pat answer. I mean, one of the things that we're already seeing is questions about what exactly tax policy is going to look like under a Labor government if they were to win. Now, they don't have a lot of commitment around sticking to that tax cap that the government has. That's one thing. There will be other issues around how much do you pay for it. Somebody just before was saying about climate and the deficit and paying for it. Well, I do think that at a certain point, people will start to say, oh, look, all of these things are great. The nurses in nursing homes are great. All of this is great. But at the end of the day, these things do have to balance out. They do have to be paid for. And I think now that the pandemic is over, I think people are starting to put their economic rationalist hats back on a bit and say, okay, we understand that we had to get through this with huge amounts of money just fire hosed into the economy by Josh Frydenberg, and great, saved a lot of jobs, saved a lot of businesses. Good on you, but now, you can't keep doing this forever. So I think that that's going to be an avenue where I think Labor is going to really struggle going forward when they start to get asked those questions over and over again, and people start to think rationally about what would Labor actually mean in terms of tax, deficit, their children's future, all of those things.